What's the aftermath of the Nick Chubb injury for the Browns, and when is it time for Browns fans to start worrying about Deshaun Watson? Let's get into those. Welcome back to Hammer Sports. Tonight we're talking a little bit about the Browns. Monday night, not a great night for Browns fans as they lost to the Steelers. But the bigger loss in that game was losing running back Nick Chubb, who pretty much eviscerated his knee. Now, what makes this injury worse, if it could be, is the fact that that's the same knee that he hurt in college back on October 10th, 2015 against the Tennessee Volunteers, where he dislocated his left knee and tore his MCL, PCL, and LCL. If you didn't see the injury Monday night, I do not recommend looking it up. It's pretty bad, but if you do want to see it, you can find it on the internet. I'm not going to put it right on the screen because, like I said, it's bad. It's one of the worst injuries I've seen. His knee fully bent the wrong way. But let's get down to what does this mean for the Browns. Obviously, Nick Chubb, a vital part of their offense, and he's such a dynamic running back. I mean, he's been so good. One stat that jumps out to me is that through his career, he has never averaged below a 5.0 yards per attempt in his career, which is absolutely amazing. It's an incredible number to hit. And this season, he was on his way to another good year. 170 yards, 6.1 yards per carry. Looked like he was going to be just the same Nick Chubb as always. But now with this injury, you start thinking long term. What's this affect not only this season, but past this season? He's 27. How many running backs have returned from a massive knee injury the same? It's very possible we just saw the last of prime Nick Chubb. And that's really sad, I think, as a football world to lose a guy of his talent. And for this season, for the Browns, where do you go to fill that need? Kareem Hunt's a name that's been thrown out there, but he's not the same back he was back in 2017 when he had his 1,000-yard season. He's progressively gotten slower and not quite as explosive as the years have gone on. The guy who stepped up for the Browns in this Monday night game is Jerome Ford, fifth-round pick back in 2022. So far this season, in that game, 16 carries, 106 yards, 6.6 yards per attempt. So a great start for him. Though, over the course of the season, and this is where you might be worried if you're a Browns fan or a fantasy owner, only 0.6 yards average after contact per rush this season. That's not a good number. And so you wonder if that 6.6 is going to be sustainable. I am betting that it's not, and it's going to be hard to replace the production and the consistency of Nick Chubb. We'll see how it affects, but it's going to also affect the rest of the team. And that's where I wanted to get into the bigger topic, the main topic I wanted to talk about tonight, which is Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson, obviously, massive trade, brought him over to the Browns, and they gave him a massive extension. Since he has come to the Browns, he has not been good. Now he loses his driving force in the backfield, Nick Chubb. At one point, do we stop giving Deshaun Watson, at what point do we stop giving Deshaun Watson a pass for his play? You look at the stats. Pre-suspension, I'm going to say suspension. When I say suspension, I mean that whole shenanigans where he was actually suspended for 12 games and the year he sat out with the Texans. Pre-suspension, 67% completion percentage, just shy of 6% on his TD percentage, which is basically how many, what's the percentage of his passes that are touchdowns. His interception percentage was a 2.1, and his QBR was a 104.5. Great numbers. And visually, he was astounding. He had some incredible play with a not very good Texans team, and he did great. Post-suspension, all those numbers I mentioned are worse. 57% completion opposed to 67. 3.8 touchdown percentage opposed to nearly 6. 2.9 interception percentage opposed to 2.1. And 76.2 QBR opposed to 104.5. When do we stop giving him a pass for his play? Look at the other quarterbacks who have missed extended time and then had to come back. The names that come to mind, Michael Vick. is a great name, I think. Similar situation where he was out of the league for Mikovic. It was 2 full seasons because of the code of conduct violations. And when he came back, though, you look at the stats. Was he worse? No. He was better. His completion percentage was up. Best of his career. Where's that for Deshaun Watson? He's gotten to train all offseason. He got action last year. This should be when we start seeing the improvement. Peyton Manning. That's a more severe. He was older. He had a neck injury. Watson didn't have an injury. Manning broke his neck. Comes back. And guess what? Sluggish the first 2 games, but then makes the playoffs. Great season for Manning. Even by his standards, it was a good season. Where's that for Deshaun Watson? Look at his statistics this season. Only 29% of his throws have been on target. 29! That's 32nd in the league. Last. 29%. For perspective, the league leader, I believe, is Tua Tagovailoa with 81%. A bad percentage of that number is 60. I think Zach Wilson last season was in the 50s. 29% is unacceptable from a guy that you expect to be a franchise quarterback for this team. A guy that you gave a massive deal to. A massive deal to. At what point do we start expecting him to live up to this? And you say, oh, well, it's been worse. Well, okay, let's take the on-target number. Back in 2019, when this stat first started getting tracked, 76.8. 80.3 the next year, 74.4 the next year. 2023, 29. 29%. Unacceptable from a guy of his standards. Okay, well, you look at the numbers. Sacks. His sacks have been up. He's, I think, 3rd in the league in sacks. He's 8 so far, sacks taken. Under pressure, let's look at those numbers deeper. Let's look at pressure percentage. Now, pressure percentage, why am I looking at this number? Because pressure percentage is looking at what percentage of passing plays is he pressured on. Not necessarily sacked, pressured on. If you're only pressured on 5 of 100 throws, but you get sacked all 5 times, you know, it's going to inflate your sack numbers compared to someone who got pressured 20 times out of 100, but they only got sacked 4 of those times. But let's look at pressure percentage. Over his career, starting in 2018 when he was drafted, 31.2. The next year, 22.3. 2020, 26.1. Fast forward to his Browns career. In 2022, his pressure percentage is 18.1. Best of his career. And in this season so far, it's been even better. 16.7. At what point do we start expecting more from Watson? I think it's now. At this point, at what point do we start wondering if Deshaun Watson will ever be the same? Because he's had a good amount of time to get back into the swing of things. He came back week 12 last season, so 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, right? Because there's 18 weeks now. That's 2 games this season, 8 games. 8 games in a full offseason for Deshaun Watson. He should be in the prime of his career, and he is playing like garbage. The stats say that he might continue to play like garbage. What do you think? That's my take on the Deshaun Watson situation. If I'm a Browns fan, I'm worried. But I don't know. I could be completely wrong on this. Let me know what you think in the comments. And until next time, Hammer Sports. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you've gotten this far in the video, obviously liked some of this. So I appreciate you. And if you didn't like this video and you got this far, I still appreciate you. And hopefully we'll see you next time. This is Hammer, and this is Hammer Sports. See you next time. I said see you next time way too many times in a row. But we're rolling with it.